We're starting Be'ezer Hashem Vayoel Moshe Siman Yud Maamar Shalosh Shevuos, and this is really the Ikar Sugya of the Shalosh Shevuos. The Shalosh Shevuos, according to Rabbi Yehuda, was only on a Yachid. At least one of them was, but now we're going into Rabbi Zera's Shita, who holds that the Shevuos are on the Tzibur, on the whole Klal Yisrael, and the Shevuah is, the first one is at least Shelo Yalu Chayma, that Yidden can't go up together as a wall. So we're going to go into explain what this means. It says, we have to explain and understand the opinion of Reb Zera, uperushan shalosh Shevuos, and the meaning of the Shalosh Shevuos in general. The other two Shevuos and the other three actually that are on learned from the end of the pasuk, as we said. He says, "V'hinei l'das Reb Zera yechidim mutarim lalois." Reb Zera holds that single people, individual Jews, are allowed to go up to Eretz Yisrael. The Shevuah is only to prohibit as a wall, going up as a wall.
In masses. So what does that mean? We have to
understand what a wall means here. The Rabbi is going to give us three possibilities what it means. Aleph, aliyah shal knufia gedola biyachad, a large group going up together to Eretz Yisrael. Base, aliyah shal roiv Yisrael, most of the Jewish people going up, more than half the Jewish people. And Gimel, Aliyah al yidei milchama, shaloi b'rshus. If they go up through fighting a war without the permission, neged ha'uma hayosheves shama, against the people who live there, meaning without the permission of the people that live there. And that's going to be very important later, because a lot of the Tzionim that went with the Shita that it's only a forceful war, that's prohibited. So they said, it wasn't a war. The Balfour Declaration and the
except it was revoked. That's the only problem. The UN didn't have any sovereign power over Palestine.
So the UN wasn't the sovereign power. The UN was not
very silly statement, because the UN, I know they claim to be the sovereign international government today, but they're nobody. All they can do is make a suggestion.
Exactly.
Consider they themselves hate the UN. They only like them just when they're in their favor.
Exactly. In any case, but the nations who voted for a Jewish state in 1947 were not the nations who lived in Eretz Yisrael or ruled over Eretz Yisrael.
That's a better way. They didn't rule over it. Only did make a suggestion.
Right. So they don't play any role here. So even according to that suggestion, it's not going to be mutter. But the Rebbe is just putting on the table the three possibilities. Now, by the way, really, you have to understand why the Rebbe didn't say four possibilities, because
what's the fourth?
The fourth is that here we have two ways to learn basically. Is it forceful or is it peaceful? And then on top of that we have two possibilities. Is it most of Klal Yisrael, or is it even a large group, even less than most? So really you could mix and match these possibilities. You could say forceful, most of Klal Yisrael, forceful, large group. Not forceful, peaceful, most of Klal Yisrael, and peaceful, large group. So why didn't he say that? So I think the pshat is that he held that when we're talking about milchama, we're talking about going up with a war, it doesn't make a difference if it's a large group or it's most of Klal Yisrael. A war is a war. A war is aliyah b'chayma no matter what. That there's no tzad to say you have to have roiv Klal Yisrael. The only tzad to say you have to have roiv Klal Yisrael is if we're talking about a peaceful immigration, where chayma means peaceful, chayma means a large mass movement. So then the question is, what's a mass movement? But if chayma means forceful, then makes no difference.
Right, even the Chavav Tzion didn't hold a building of Shiur coming in with weapons.
Right.
They clearly said, I'm sure that you have to come in peacefully and just live there and don't demand any independence or make any fights.
Right. Spheres Kalisha wrote that, and all the Gedolim of the Zionists, the ones who joined the Zionists, said that. So, and even Rav Kook, it's interesting, said it in I don't know exactly what year he published this siddur, but Rav Kook was nifter 1936.
35, I think, before the creation was revoked.
Right, so he didn't see what happened in 48 and the war and everything like that. So according to him, Zionism was a great thing, but it was a peaceful movement. He didn't foresee any of this war, and he was very naive about it actually. And he wrote explicitly in his siddur called Oilis Re'iyah, on the bracha of Alamichya. He says a whole pshat there in Alamichya, and it comes out according to his pshat that you're not allowed to go forcefully. He says chas v'shalom, to be oile b'choyma, to be oile and to be moyer b'umois, and to go and fight with Muhammad's. So even Rav Kook himself said it. Now, okay, so let's go back there. V'divrei Rashi zal stumim. And by the way, I just want to show you one thing before we go on. Look in the kuntres of the Maamar for this week. I brought some Zionists down here so you can see.
Where do you find them? 3, you're right.
So, Rav Shlomo Aviner in his book on the Shalosh Shevuos, he brings down a few people who asked this question: what does it mean b'choyma? How many people has to be b'choyma? Right? So he says, number 1, Rabbi Avram Yellen, the v'choyma hu rak kol Yisrael b'yachad. He brings up another possibility that the Rebbe doesn't even bring up. The Rebbe held that so far-fetched, it's ridiculous to say that every single Jew in the world has to be there in order to make it b'choyma.
No need for the Gemara to give you a shoot you can never break.
Right. You're going to get every single Jew to go and invade Eretz Yisrael?
Hey, look, the Torah is smart. The Torah does not give you restrictions you can't break, and Orla is no exception. You get people to try to compare it. You could break the issue of Orla. Not all trees take so long to develop.
Okay, the v'choyma hu rak kol Yisrael b'yachad.
Yeah.
And then he says another thing here. He says, "V'loikas sha'olin b'chol pam eza me'os v'afilu eza alafim." Not if they go in groups, but not all together. Thousands together, hundreds together. Shahari v'geulis Bavel brings a raya. He says, "You see, by Bavel, sha'olu kamer bavlis yachad. Many tens of thousands of Jews came up at the beginning. Ezra came up with 42,000 Jews, and v'amin b'gemara dat yuma daf tes." That wasn't called choyma. So you see from this that 42,000 is not called choyma. Okay, so that's true. But what he wants to prove from this is that Abai Sheni was never b'choyma, even though eventually he thinks all of Klal Yisrael came by Sheni, or maybe Rov. I don't even know if that's true. But
not even Rov.
Not even Rov.
Because it was Yirmiyahu what he said to the Jews in Babel, not even to those elsewhere else.
He said to build houses and stay there, but I don't know if that was forever. Maybe that was just until the 70 years.
Till the Gzer was up, as Yirmiyahu said, yes.
Okay, good. But after the Gzer was up, then what happened?
Then that's why they came back.
They came back. So when they came back, was it Rov? Eventually, by the middle of Bayesheni, the end of Bayesheni period, were the majority of the Jewish people there?
Don't know. So he assumes that they were. Who was Rabbi Avram Yellen?
I don't know exactly, but it looks like he was one of the Zionist writers of the 1900s.
That's what it was telling.
Not too long ago.
Doesn't sound too much like he's from far back.
There was a famous person named Yoshua Yellen who was in Cherem. In the late 1800s, Rabbi Yeshua Leib Diskin made a cherem on anybody who would send their kids to the Maskilim school in Yerushalayim. Started by Chiel Michal Pinnis. So this person, Yoshua Yellen, sent his son to the school. And it could be this family Yellen came out of that.
I see.
Al Kapanim. So he says like this. He says that they didn't come all together. They came slowly, but eventually they reached Rov, or they reached Kol, according to him. And still, you see, it wasn't called Choyma because they came slowly. So he wants to say the state of Israel also, they came slowly. Nobody came all at once, but still, it's considered not b'choyma. So this is a kasha we're going to have to come back to, because it could be that in Bayesheni there never was Rov Klal Yisrael.
I think not even, because the 10th Shvatim weren't even there, so it even more so.
Okay. Next, he says, Harav Blumberg, I don't know who that is, but also a recent person, one of the Zionists. He says, Shebechoyma zeh davka kol Yisrael v'kulam yachad. It's everybody together coming on the same day. Kind of like Yeshua.
He has the same name as Bloomberg, a former, Apikoros mayor.
Okay. V'harav Meir Blumenfeld kasev shekechoyma hakavana aliyas ha'am bebast achas. Everybody together, all at once. V'vada yoyser mimechza. He says it's for sure more than half.
And Mayor Blumenfeld was too recent from the 19th century, I mean?
Yeah.
I see.
Recent person. Now, he brings a raya. Take a look at his raya. On the bottom, he says, Al pi divrei ha-gemara yuma tes v'rashi sham. And down the bottom, he brings down the whole thing. He says, Ima sisem atzbechem kechoyma v'alisem kulchem mimei Ezra. If you would have come up like a wall in the time of Ezra, nimshaltem kekesed, then you would have been like silver. But achshav shalisem kedalsois. Now that you came up like doors, nimshaltem ke'eres. You're like cedar wood, sharek of shoyli boy, that it could rot. So what doors? So Rashi says there, he's appears Rashi, Shar sheyesh bo shtei dlosses. It's like those restaurants that have the two doors.
Yeah.
That, the waiter pushes on them, they open up. He says, Poseach echad v'soiger echad. You could open one door and leave the other one closed. Kach alisem lachatzoim. So too the Jewish people came up halfway. So half the Jewish people came up. That's what he's being medayik from Rashi. And still, it wasn't called Chayma. So from that we see that you have to have most of the Jewish people to be called Chayma. Okay, so we're going to have to see how we contend with that now. So let's go back to Vayoel Moshe here. So he says, V'divrei Rashi zal stumin. The Rashi's words are very hard to understand.
Concealed, perplexing.
Right. Shekasav yachad biyad chazaka. Rashi says a chayma means together with a strong hand. So it's a little bit internally austere here. He says yachad sounds like a lot of people together, and yad chazaka sounds like it means but with a war, with force. So which is it? Both together Rashi needs? What's going on here? The lashon zet tzarich bir lahavin kavanasa. We need to understand what Rashi means. I'm going to explain later what this means in the coming Simanim. Gam divrei Marsha eina muvanim. The Marsha is also difficult to understand. The nirad shemafarish lashon b'chayma al binyan ha'chayma. That it goes on the building of the wall. And this is another thing, by the way. I have a copy here, the Marsha on page 5, and this is another thing that the Zionists have grabbed onto as a proof, because the Marsha says it's only usher if you build the wall. Well, the Zionists didn't build the wall of Yerushalayim. The wall of Yerushalayim has been there for 500 years, right? Suleiman the Magnificent. So when did the Zionists ever build the wall? That's what they want to say. So take a look at this Marsha. He says, Shelo yalu b'chayma v'tzalaymar Vada the reshus b'cholechad miYisrael la'alos d'Eretz Yisrael. Vada every yid could go to Eretz Yisrael. El shelo yalu b'yachad b'yad chazaka. So he's basically copying Rashi's words. V'livnois lahem chaymas Yerushalayim, to build the walls of Yerushalayim. U'nechemya she'amar v'nivneh. So that's where they stop. They stop reading here. But if you read further, you understand what he means. He says, "U'nechemya she'amar v'nivneh chaymas ha'ir v'loy niyeh." He says Nehemiah wanted to build the walls of Yerushalayim. So how could he have done that? So he says B'reshus HaMelech. He was doing it with the permission of the king. You have the king of Bavel, Daryavish, of Persia, actually gave permission to Nehemiah to go up and build the walls.
Right. He was the successor of Achashverosh who stopped the building, and after Achashverosh died, Daryavish allowed the Hebrews to continue being rebuilt.
Right. And if you look at the very beginning of the Sefer Nehemiah, you see there in the conversation between Nehemiah and the king, Artaxshasta, which was the same as Daryavish, Chazal say.
Artaxshasta was the equivalent of Egyptian king being called Paro. By Persia, Artaxshasta.
Right, all the kings of Persia had that title. According to one of the Mefarshim, that's how they answered it up. That's how the same king could have two names. So you see, he was the cup bearer. He was the Sar Mashkim. He was, he brought the wine to the king Artaxerxes, Artaxshasta, and he tasted it to make sure it wasn't poison. So basically, Nehemiah had that job, and he asked the king permission to go to help build the Chaymas of Yerushalayim.
Because he didn't change his father's Gezerah right away, because he still held on to his father's Gezerah.
Well, he let the Yidden go up, but then the Yidden were getting attacked by enemies.
But clearly, it wasn't automatic when Nehemiah had to ask him.
Right.
So we clearly see even Daryavish didn't change his father's Gezerah right away.
Not completely. And he says, "V'af divrei hamelech asher amar li, v'Tuvia shal Nehemiah." It says there was someone named Tovia, who asked Nehemiah, Al binyan ha'chayma. He said, "How could you do such a thing? Ha'al hamelech atem mordim? Are you going and rebelling against the king?"
That's in the Sefer itself, the Nehemiah. It's not itself. Yeah.
It's because Tovia didn't know that Nehemiah had permission from the king. Okay, umiu b'shmatin tzarich loimer de'achas shelo yimrdu lav hainu binyan ha'chayma el b'dvarim acherim kishehem begalus. He says, if you're going to say that building the wall is aliyah b'chayma, then what's shelo yimrdu? What's not rebelling? Rebelling, if you build the wall, that's also called rebelling. So why do you have to have a separate oath for that? Yeah. So the Marsha says it's talking about other types of rebellion in exile, not rebelling in Yerushalayim. I have to come back to this also. But Al Kapanim, what do you see that the Marsha is saying? Building the wall. But building the wall not as just a construction project, building the wall to protect yourself from enemies, is a type of merida b'malchus. That's the problem here. It's not a void of the wall. So therefore, the Zionists, it could be they didn't build the wall, but today we don't use walls in wars. Wars,
they use
don't really help
guns and cannons. Guns and cannons and built-in missile cannons are a great alternative to war.
Right. The walls don't help much.
Or anti-missile cannons exist in every country instead of walls. Seriously.
Right. Okay. So, Ubinyan Mardech Hashmei. The Rebbe says on the Marshal, he says that the Marshal learns building the wall. Who mentioned anything about building? V'loi Amru b'Gemara Binyan Chayma. Doesn't say Shaloi Yivnu HaChayma. Right. El Aliyah b'Chayma. U'b'Gemara Yuma Daf Tes. So now to get a feel for what Chayma means, we're going to bring a raya from Daf Tes. This is what the Sionim also brought. He says, Darash Reb Eish Lakish. Eish Lakish darshaned. Im Chayma hi. If the Yidden are like a wall, it's a pasuk in Shir Shirim, Kapitel Ches. If the Yidden are like a wall, Im asisim atzmeichem kechayma. If you would have made yourself like a wall, v'alisem kulchem b'mei Ezra, and come up all together in the time of Ezra, then you would have been like silver. So, Harei shekara la'aliyah meruba b'lashon chayma. You see from this that he called a mass immigration a wall. Af shahaya hakol b'shus, even though it was with permission. V'hayu yicholim la'asois hakoil. They had permission from the king to do everything, to build the wall and to do everything. Still, it's called chayma. If they would have had masses of Yidden, just they didn't have, so it was called not b'chayma. Okay, so that knocks off the third shot right there. The third shot that aliyah b'chayma has to be a war. You see from here that it doesn't have to be. Okay?
Because a war doesn't even mean rebel. A war does not mean a wall is used for defense, not as weapons. So going up a wall means like it's a wall oneself away from goals. So
you're saying now that we come out like this, or you're saying like the war upshot?
Seems like it, because a wall is not used even for weapons. A wall is used to defend or to barricade. So go by wall seems to sound like not to wall oneself away from goals and block away goals.
Okay, Amnam Gam Sham Pirish Marshah. Even in Yuma, Daf Tes, the Marshah also says the same shot about the building of the wall. Since there were very few people going up with Ezra, they needed a wall to protect themselves against the enemies. And by the way, with this you can really understand what the answer is to that kasha. I forgot who asked it. One of the Zionist authors that we brought over here.
Right here, page 3?
Page 3, Mayor Blumenfeld.
Yeah.
He said, no, 1 second. The other one before that, Rabbi Yellen.
Yeah.
He said that you see from that by Sheni eventually everybody came, but still not called Chayma. Teretz is that the Gemara says, we just quoted the Lashon Gemara, Ilu asisim atzmechim Chayma ba'alisim kulchem b'mei Ezra. It sounds like the Taina on the Yidden was in the time of Ezra. It's not a sweeping Taina, a sweeping criticism of the Jews in the whole Bayesheni period. It's just the period of Ezra. That if Ezra came up with only 42,000, that wasn't Chayma. They came up later, who cares? We're not having a Taina on that. We're having a Taina on Ezra. In his generation. Okay, anyway. The Marshal Yuma says that they didn't need a wall because there weren't too many people. They did need a wall because there weren't too many people. The Mishmar Me'oivim, to protect them against the enemies. They wouldn't need the chayma, they wouldn't need the wall. So now we're going to go to our next Mar Makom to see where we can pull out the meaning of the word chayma. He says, the pligi Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, the pasuk ani chayma. The same exact pasuk in Shir Shim here that we just brought. It says im chayma hi, and then the next pasuk is the Yidden answer back, ani chayma, I'm a wall. What does that mean? The Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chayma Zu Torah. Chayma refers to the Torah. Reish Lakish Amar Chayma Zu Knesset Yisrael. Refers to the Jewish people. What does that mean, the Jewish people? Appears Rashi Zal Kulam Shavin Le'inin Chayma V'Goydri Matzma Mili Tama Ba'akum. That the Jewish people protect themselves from assimilating among the Goyim. That's what it means. I'm a wall against assimilation. Okay? So, what do you see from this? You see that chayma means strength. It means unified strength and holding back a barrier against something, not fighting.
See, chol or chol, that it surrounds somebody in a defensive way, like a wall surrounds the cold, and it gives the person strengthening like heat does.
Okay?
So it seems to add further, don't let Yisrael sound like wall, don't ascend to it having Hashem love you to the point, like a choma. Like you're surrounded with absolute love.
Okay, so Harei de Reish Lakish.
After all, it says Hishbati, I'm Torah Sahava, and
Right.
choma is a thing of Ahava that binds with you and protects you.
Okay, that's a good shot. So he says, Harei de Reish Lakish Shadarash B'Yuma Lashon Chayma, the same Reish Lakish who says in Yuma, Daf Tes, who says that the Chayma goes al Aliyah Meruba, many people going up together. And he said that's why Ezra was criticized. The door of Ezra didn't have enough people. Harei Darish Khan, Reish Lakish Darshan is here in Basra, Lashon Chayma al Hageder, on like an invisible wall, like a protection, a shield, she'enam nitmoin ben akim, that they don't get assimilated. The Rashi Zal, Pirish B'Shir Hashirim, Rashi in his commentary on Shir Hashirim itself, al cost of im choymahi, im techazak be'emunasa ubi rasa. If the Jewish people is strong in its faith and its fear of God, liyois kenegdom kechoymas nechoshes, to be against them, the nations, like a copper wall, shelo yikanzu l'soicha, that they won't be able to break through. So again, it's a lashon of strength. That Jews shouldn't intermarry, and they won't intermarry with them. And she won't be
Enticed.
That's a good word to them. So wall refers to the strength of faith, not being enticed by the nations. When the Yidden answer back, I'm a wall, Rashi says it's strong in love for my beloved, for Hashem. You see, a strong strength is called a wall. So it has nothing to do with war, it has to do with strength.
Which surrounds a person and protects.
Right.
Because somebody's warm on something, it surrounds and protects him. We in ourselves say a husband without a wife without a wall.
Shari b'loi chayma, right?
Yeah, so which seems to very much prove his point further. So not to go back wall, don't go up and have some surrounding with absolute love. The way you would want to.
So it means a mass immigration, like the first two started. The question is, which one of the first two is it going to be? So that's what we're going to see soon. There are many things learned out from this pasuk im choymahi. She'omar HaKadosh Baruch Hu Avram. One of them is that Hashem said to Avram, "Imam midvarim kechoyma." When Avram was being tested with the kivshin o'esh, or maybe with the other nisyonis, Hashem said, if he's going to stand up like a wall, then good. If not, not. So gam darash im oisim maisim toivim kechoyma. If the Jews do good deeds like a wall. Okay, now we're getting to the issue of how many is called chayma. So look at this. V'sham b'parsha ches ois yud hevi. It brings there that Reish Lakish kad have a chami lohain. When Reish Lakish saw Yidden, he saw Jews, a lot of Jews together. Mitzamtzin b'shuka, gathered in the marketplace. Havi amar lohain. He would say to them, Badru garmaichu, scatter yourselves. Amar lahem, ba'al yaschem lo na'asesem chayma. He said a criticism of the Jewish people. He said, when you came up there to Israel, you didn't make yourself like a wall. The kan basem la'asos chayma, and now you're coming to make yourself like a wall.
In the marketplace, being to say.
Yeah. So the question is, if this is the same Reish Lakish from Yuma, we said that going up as a wall, means mass immigration more than Ezra's door, more than the time of Ezra. So the question is how much. So he said he saw a lot of Yidden in the marketplace. Well, how many Yidden could he have seen already? You think he saw the whole Jewish population of the world in one marketplace? Probably not, right? He probably just saw a large group. He says, "Upirish b'matnas kahuna." One of the Mefarshim on the Medrash explains, "Kishahaya roya oisam b'nei Bavel." He saw Jews from Bavel. Now it's not clear if this was in Bavel or not, because I don't think Reish Lakish ever lived in Bavel.
I don't think so. I think he was all in Eretz Yisrael.
But it says he saw Bnei Bavel, people from Bavel, Nesafim u'muchubarim v'chnufya, all gathered together like a crowd. So Amar lahem pazru atzmechem. He said, scatter yourselves, ba'al yaschem lo na'asesem choyma, v'kan b'asem la'ases choyma, k'demaisi le'el ayin sham. He says, you're coming to make yourself a wall here, like it brings earlier in the Medrash, ki le'el mizeh, isa shamach drasha the Ridarish Reish Lakish b'yuma daf tes. Because the Medrash brings the same Reish Lakish from Yud Daf Tes that the Jews of Ezra's time were criticized for not being a wall. Ilu asisem kulchem b'choyma. Alisem kulchem b'choyma. Umidekara la'oisa kenufia shirua b'yamav b'shuk b'bavel shehu choyma. From the fact that Reish Lakish called this gathering that he saw in the marketplace in Bavel, again the Rebbe says it was in Bavel, I'm not sure if it was in Bavel, but he saw Bnei Bavel, Shehu Chayma, that it was a wall, V'Yisrayim al Shalo Yasu came Ba'al Yasam B'mei Ezra, and he complained and he criticized them for not doing that in the time of Ezra, Mevur Shekol Knufya Gedoy La'afim Einoi Roiv Yisrael. You see that any large gathering of Yidden, even if it's not the majority of the Jewish people, the Af B'Shus, even if it was with permission from the Goyim, Nikra Chayma, it's still called a wall. It's not pshat that Reish Lakish was looking at some kind of rebellion here, some kind of a crowd that was looking to overthrow the government. Chas v'shalom. That would have been aser anyway, to not rebel against the nations. And in any case, the Yidden that came up in Ezra's time came up with permission. It doesn't seem like most of the Jewish people in the whole world got together in Be'ez Shuk Bavel, in some marketplace in Bavel. We're talking now, Reish Lakish lived 300 years or 200 years after the Churban.
The only thing I have to ask is it bad for all Jews to gather together?
Nah, not really. But Reish Lakish he was just using that as a place to jump into his criticism of the time of Ezra. It's not really bad. He used to say this because he was critical of that door.
You see,
because it was talking about Bnei Bavel that could have gone to Eretz Yisrael, or maybe did go but didn't go at the right time. Okay, so he says V'nira mizeh shekol kenufia gedola. Any large gathering, bishvil sheyesh lem lahis chazkis, because they have strength, like he explained before. Chayim means strength. Meruba, lots of strength. Nikreis chayim, that's called a wall. Kasher vesi le'am mipirish Rashi zal, like I brought from Rashi on Shiur in Rashi. V'chein marin harba drasha shebedivei Chazal. There are many other drashas in Chazal that also indicate that chayim means strength. And just
defensive strength, not offensive.
Right, not offensive, because he's not going with the pshat of Nechama. So basically, we've ruled out
defense, not offensive, though.
We've ruled out Gimel, and we've ruled out even base, and we're basically down to Aleph. That any large group going up together is considered Chayma. And I have the Medrash if anyone wants to see it.
We see that one was out of the way without a Chayma. It's clearly a defensive protection, not an offensive one.
Right.
Yeah.
So even defensive is considered Chayma.
Yeah.
And Kol Shekain, I mean, even defensive, not only that, even if it's peaceful, totally peaceful, without defense or defense.
I'm not promoting the idea that a defensive Chayma is permitted. I'm only pointing out how even if they argue Chayma is permitted, they don't even know Lashon Chayma, that even a defensive one is permitted, Kol Shekain an offensive one.
And just to look at the population of the Medina, to understand what we're dealing with here, because the Rebbe brought down these two tzaddim, right? Does it mean Roiv Yisrael or not? So on page 4 I have a little population chart, just to understand how it
99% of statistics are false. So
okay, could be
hard to just believe statistics.
But in any case, in 1948, by Hakamas in Medina, there wasn't even a tenth of the Jewish population there. It was only 600,000. In 1960, when the Rebbe was writing this, there was approximately 1.7 million Jews in Eretz Yisrael out of 12
but 600 sounds too high, because there are a lot of Arabs, Russians and Polacks, so...
There were, at 1948, there were twice as many Arabs as Jews.
I see.
So the 600,000 Jews, 1.2 million Arabs. And in 1960, in the Medina itself, in the part that, of course they didn't have the West Bank then, so it was 1.6, so we're not counting the Arabs there. But we're not talking about Arabs now, we're talking about Jews. From the percentage of the Jewish population, there was about 1.7 million out of a total of 12 million. So this is nowhere near Roiv Klal Yisrael.
Yeah, I read too many views, how many Jews there are, so these statistics are always questionable.
Today we're getting close to Roiv. So today, even if you're not going to agree with the Rebbe, you're going to hold you need Roiv, we're getting close to that today.
Okay, but hard to believe statistics of who's Jew for many reasons.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ad kan, yeshakayach.
Yeah.
Any questions? Anything?
That's all. It's good.
Okay.